Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to today's edition of Intuitive Angling, and thanks for joining us for another on the water video today. We're going to be talking about bluff banks, guys. Bluff banks are excellent places to catch fish in the early spring. There's a lot of complexities to them, so I'm going to show you guys exactly how I approach a bluff bank, what to look for. We're going to take sort of a trip down this bluff here and give you guys some good tips and advice on it. Also, guys, real quick, just wanted to remind you all about the Tackle Warehouse spring fishing sale they got going on. A lot of good deals, 25-30% off on lures, rods and reels, depth finders, everything like that. I'll put my Tackle Warehouse sale link in the description. And one bait you guys might want to check out, guys, I have been hammering them on this megabass Super Z3 in the crawdad pattern here. This has been a really good bait for me this spring. I've been catching a lot of fish on it here down at Table Rock Lake, and I'll put the Super Z3 link in the description if you guys want to get a couple of them. But man, they will bite this thing good. It's got a nice little tight wobble on it. It's been getting some good fish for me. So anyway, guys, I'm going to turn the camera around here. We're going to go down this bluff bank. I'll show you what to look for. So here we go. Hey guys, here's a typical bluff bank. Now, yesterday, if you saw the video, we talked about channel swing banks. And channel swing banks can also be bluff banks, but a lot of times they're more broken rock. But today I wanted to talk about just a specific vertical bluff bank that is on a lot of different man-made impoundments. And if you notice here, most lakes, guys, they have, especially if you get in a river system, they got a bluff on one side, and then you can see they got a flat bank on the other side here. And these bluff banks are really good places early in the year because they offer a lot of good cover. You know, they got a lot of water, you know, a lot of access to deep water close by. And sometimes they got like standing timber or submerged timber you can see there. But the thing about bluffs, guys, not all bluffs are the same because there's a lot of factors that you have to consider with bluffs. Number one is that all bluffs slope off differently. Some bluffs are like vertical right down the side of them, and some here, like I'm about probably 15 feet away from the bank, and you can see the water depth is only 12 feet deep here. So this one sort of has a stair step effect on it. So every bluff is different about how it comes off the water and how fast it slopes off into deep water. But most of the time, you know, deep water is close by. It could be out there, it could be right next to the bank. So how you approach a bluff bank has a lot to do with how it slopes off. Now, second to that is the water visibility. The water visibility is going to dictate your techniques. So say, for example, where I'm at right now, it's pretty stained. Water visibility is only probably 15-18 inches here. So in that situation in the early spring, these fish are going to be tighter to the bank. When you have off-colored water, the fish tend to get right on the bank, right on the bottom, and they don't suspend or use this deeper water here. So obviously in a situation like this with the stained water, I'm going to be targeting water depth probably less than 6 or 7 feet, and it's going to be good for like a jig, a spinnerbait, chatterbait, a crankbait, you know, something that you can fish shallow that, you know, puts off some good color and some good water displacement and vibration. Now, as the water visibility increases, let's say you're on a lake that's got some clear water visibility of over 4 feet, that is going to push these fish farther off the bank. And they still could be on the bottom, but they could be like in maybe 10 to 15 feet on the bottom, or they could be suspended out off the bluffs here, which happens a lot in the early spring. So if the water's clear, my main choices is going to be like a jerk bait out a little bit deeper, parallel on the bank with a jerk bait, maybe an Alabama rig, something like that. I could still use a crankbait that runs, you know, 10 or 12 feet deep. But I'm really going to be looking to catch them on a jig a little bit deeper out here. I'd probably take like a finesse jig, you know, fish it out 10 to 15 feet deep. So let your water clarity dictate the depth that you fish. Now, this is a real important key here, guys. Notice how this bluff here is really vertical. You know, it just drops off. It's solid rock. Look at the little rock slide here. Guys, this is a key piece of cover. Anytime that you have like a rock transition, see how that bluff is a vertical rock right there, then it goes to chunk. This is a really high percentage area right here. So I'm going to be really slowing down. Anytime I get to a rock transition or a rock slide, I'll really slow down. I'll work it out deeper off of here because this rock could slide out off the water. This would be, again, a really good place for a jig, a shaky head, something like that. Other good pieces of cover, guys, you know, bluffs always have some isolated wood. Anytime you got some wood target, that's also going to be a good spot. So guys, there's just a quick tutorial on what to look for in bluffs. There's a lot of more subtleties and complexities to them based upon the species you have in the lake, because if you have a lake that every lake's got a different mix of like largemouth spotted bass or smallmouth. So depending upon the mix of bass species that you have in a lake, you know, they could be way farther off the bluff, they could be tighter, they could be suspended, they could be on the bottom. But that's sort of what to look for. One of the things, the two primary things to focus on in bluffs, guys, is pay attention to your water clarity and the angle of the break off the bank. That'll really dictate the techniques, and those techniques that I described under those different conditions usually work most of the time. Another thing with it is two different things as far as wind. Normally, if I've got some wind coming in on the bluffs, I tend to like to fish the reaction baits more, like the spinner baits and crankbaits. And if you got calm conditions where the wind's not blowing much, that's when I'll back off and fish the bottom with like a finesse jig, a Ned rig, a shaky head, something like that. So anyway, guys, give them a try. They're great structures all spring long up until, you know, anytime that water temperature is between like 45 and, you know, upper 50s are really good this time of year. Also, if you have a big spotted bass population on a lake and clear water, those big spotted bass will bed on these bluffs too in a little bit deeper water. So hope it helps you guys catch a few. We'll talk later.